Imagine this. One day, you're sitting in your favorite spot, thinking about everything you've done in life. You recall moments of joy, moments of regret, and all the times you said, "I'll do it tomorrow." But then it hits you, tomorrow isn't infinite. Time is slipping through your fingers like sand, and you can't hold on to it. In this video, we'll dive into a powerful story that reminds us of the value of time. It's about the choices we make, the moments we cherish or don't, and the way life speeds past while we're busy with distractions. Stay with me, because by the end, you might just see time in a whole new light. How quickly time flies. Time is the only resource that cannot be reclaimed. How many times have we heard this truth? Yet its real value only becomes clear to us as the years pass. This realization is like a sudden gust of wind that stirs up the dust of memories, making us wonder, where did all those days, months, and years go? The story I'm about to share might change the way you look at your life. When I was 20, I thought I was immortal. Time felt like an endless ocean, and I believed it would always flow in my favor. I could waste hours on trivial things, aimlessly wandering the streets, scrolling through social media, or postponing important tasks. Tomorrow, I tell myself, I'll have time. I'll get it all done. One day, I met an old man sitting on a bench in the park. His face was lined with deep wrinkles, but his eyes were warm and full of light. We struck up a conversation. He asked me what I was doing with my life. I told him I was studying, working, and mostly enjoying my youth. "Do you have dreams?" he asked. "Of course. I want to travel, start my own business, learn to play the guitar, write books," I said, feeling brimming with energy. The old man smiled and said something that seemed strange to me at the time. "Be careful that tomorrow doesn't become your greatest illusion." I laughed. What could he understand? I was young, and he was old. I had time. I had all the time in the world. 10 years passed. Life swept me up in a whirlwind of responsibilities. Work, studies, relationships. I forgot about that conversation in the park, as we often forget things that seem insignificant. But one day, I realized I was 30, and I still hadn't written a book. I hadn't learned a single song on the guitar or started my business. I kept telling myself, I'll start tomorrow. Tomorrow will be a better time. That was when I saw the old man again. This time, he was in a wheelchair. He looked much frailer, but his eyes were still full of light. "You?" I exclaimed, sitting down beside him. He looked at me and asked, "So, did you write your book?" Shame washed over me. "No, not yet. Work, responsibilities. There's just not enough time." "Not enough time?" he repeated with a smile. "We all have the same number of hours in a day. The question is, what do you spend them on?" I fell silent. His words lingered in my mind. He pulled an old pocket watch from his coat. Its hands ticked loudly, emphasizing each second. "This watch belonged to my father," he began. "When I was young, he gave it to me and said, 'Every tick is a moment of your life. Every talk is a step closer to its end. You can live cherishing every moment or let time pass you by.'" Back then, I didn't understand his words, just as you might not fully understand them now. But one day, you'll look back and realize that time is the most valuable thing you've ever had. After our meeting, I couldn't sleep. His words echoed in my soul. I thought about all the moments I had wasted, calls to my parents that I postponed, walks with friends that I traded for aimless scrolling online, dreams that remained just dreams. I realized the old man was right. We all live as if we have infinite time, but we don't. I decided to change my life. I took a sheet of paper and wrote down everything I had ever wanted to do. Travel. I bought a ticket to an unfamiliar country. Learn to play the guitar. I signed up for lessons. Write a book. I started with 1 page a day. Every day, I tried to be grateful. I woke up early to watch the sunrise, thank the universe for another day to live. I stopped saying tomorrow, because I understood that tomorrow is the most unreliable day in the world. All we truly have is today. 20 years have passed. That old man left this world long ago, but his lesson stayed with me. I wrote my book, raised my children, traveled, and even learned to play the guitar. But most importantly, I learned to value time. Now that I'm over 50, I often recall his words, "Be careful that tomorrow doesn't become your greatest illusion." I've shared this wisdom with my children because I want them to live not just longer, but better. I want them to understand the value of every moment earlier than I did. If you're listening to or reading this now, think about how you're spending your time. Ask yourself, if today were the last day of your life, how would you spend it? Would you call your loved ones? Hug your family? Do something you've been putting off for years? We can't turn back time, but we can start valuing what we have right now. Don't wait for tomorrow. Live today. Time flies. And one day, you'll look back and realize it wasn't just the ticking of a clock. It was your life. So, what have we learned? Life is not an endless journey, but a set of precious moments that we live here and now. We often put off important things for later, thinking that time is our ally. But the reality is that every day, every minute, passes irretrievably. Think about it. What do you really value? Maybe it's a conversation with a loved one, a walk at sunset, or a moment when you were doing something that is truly close to you. These moments are your life. Think about it. What do you really value? Maybe it's a conversation with a loved one, a walk at sunset, or a moment when you were doing something that is truly close to you. These moments are your life. Remember, one day, you will look back, and your whole life will be like a moment. Let this moment be filled with joy, meaning, and gratitude for what you had. Thank you for spending this time with me. If you felt that this story touched your heart, share it with others. Perhaps it will be the impulse that will make someone stop and rethink their life. Appreciate your time. Live here and now. See you there.